now here on Zoom is Jim Hotelling from Hillside Garden Landscaping, and today we're going to talk about one of Jim's favorite perennials. Jim, what are those?
Well, they're hostas. I've been growing hostas for years and years and years. And, most hostas are grown for their foliage and not the flowers. So it's a foliage plant, basically.
Awesome. So I heard that they're mostly shade plants, right?
Well, yeah, they do really well in the shade. So if you have one of those shade gardens, especially without too much root competition, it's a wonderful plant for that. Um, there's blue ones that have waxy coating on them that gives them the blue color. And you put them out in the sun, and the sun basically melts that wax, melts the heat, and you'll lose a lot of that blue color if they get too much sun. So that, and sometimes the hostas will burn if they get too much sun. Now in our climate, southern tier, we're noted for having cloudy days and rain and what have you. And we can tolerate a lot more in our area than you can, say, in the mid-Atlantic states or what have you. And this one particular plant called Sum and Substance, as you can see, this plant is growing between a couple of spruce trees right out in full sun, and it's glorious. It's a beautiful plant. So some of them can tolerate a lot of sun.
Gotcha. And judging by just what you're saying in some of these pictures, I see that they come in all sorts of sizes and colors, right?
Yes, this first one is called Blue Mouse Ears, which is really kind of a neat name. And that thing's only a few inches tall, and the leaves are very small. It's this particular picture, they happen to be flowering really well, so it's kind of neat. On the other end of the spectrum is this one called Winter Snow. This particular plant is one I'm growing, and it's probably measures pretty close to 6 feet across, which is pretty big by comparison. There are a few others. There's many, many, many others, but a lot of them that have, unique qualities, unique colors.
Gotcha. What are some of the problems with growing hostas that we should be aware of?
Well, the biggest one, which is really a deterrent to a lot of people, is the deer. And, the deer will feed on them. Sometimes they'll go all summer long, leave them alone, and all of a sudden one day you'll go out there and all the leaves are gone. Mm-hmm. And, that's the tough part. And, you can mitigate that somewhat by either using fencing, or there's a product called Deer Scram that I like to use, and it works actually quite well. You got to be careful if, you get a lot of rain. Every couple of weeks you got to go and reapply. But that has worked well for me.
And so you have another issue that also sounds interesting, Hosta virus X. Can you tell us about that?
Well, as you can see on the picture, the virus X is it makes some unique modeling on the leaves. And this is something that if it's in the plant, the best thing you can do is to just dig the whole plant up, remove it. They say to sterilize your shovel or your tool and completely dispose of it. Don't throw it in the compost or whatever. Completely dispose of it. And the tough part about this is that what bothers me is I was at one of the local farm stands and they're selling plants and they had hostas and it had a virus in it. I didn't happen to see the person. They happened to be, away behind the counter somewhere. I was going to tell them about it. I hate to be the one telling them, you got to throw these out. You can't sell them. But I've done that before. And if they have any conscience at all, they will get rid of them so you're not spreading it into your garden. And of course, the other problem that I kind of skipped over is slug damage. And that produces little holes in the leaves. And some plants, it actually produces rather large areas where they've been eaten. And you get a rainy, wet year and they have a tendency to be worse than others.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Jim, for joining us today.
Thanks. Jim Hotelling, the home gardener from Hillside Garden Landscaping.